Today in Nerd History!
Not everybody likes horror movies, and that's okay. After all, the main purpose of a horror movie is to upset the audience. Some of us enjoy that for some horrible reason, but for those other folks out there, rest assured you can still enjoy horror movies. It's very easy for a scary movie to teeter over the edge and land in the unintentionally hilarious category. So today, I want to talk about 10 times that horror movies have been enjoyable for all the wrong reasons, or all the right reasons. Just a fair warning, though these scenes are funnier than they are scary, they're still filled with some goofy, gross-out gore. So if buckets of Caro syrup aren't your thing, if you're not a sick puppy who likes to see that splatted all over the place, well, maybe skip this video. Number 10, Decades of Decapitations. In a horror movie, there is no surer signifier that somebody's definitely dead, quite as absolute as a, decapitation. You may be surprised to learn that if your head's not attached to your body anymore, then you're dead. You're kaput, that's it. Unless you're a horror movie villain, in which case you're as alive as you want to be. Go right ahead. It's fine. Do weird shit. It's cool. But if you're a normie in a horror movie, you're practically a Lego person, just waiting to have your noggin popped off, or it'll roll into the fridge and stay there until you move when you're 15. But no matter the case, this classic kill is always goofy. Even classy films have a hard time pulling off the old block knock, like this iconic scene from the original Omen. Sure, in 1976, special effects weren't as sophisticated as they are now, but it does kind of look like a rubber Ken doll head has started a one-man breakdancing troupe. Where's the blood? This guy needs to learn about proper hydration. 8 cups a day, my dude. The Omen could learn a thing or two about fluids from this movie, Cellar Dweller. They really nail the juicy nature of this kill, but I still can't help but think that this looks like a sensationalist film about the dangers of high-fiving too hard. You'd think that a movie famous for its machete-wielding antagonist would be able to nail a decapitation. Well, check out this scene from Jason Takes Manhattan and think again. It seems that the only thing Jason should be taking is a basic anatomy course. Next don't work like that, Jason. Maybe they should though, because I could have a lot of fun. I'd rip my own head off is what I'm saying, I guess. That didn't make sense. Going with it though. Number 9, Dino Crocs child Chomp. Look, this is also a decapitation, but it really deserves a category all on its own. Decapitations seem like they should be so easy, but as the Roger Corman schlockfest Dino Croc makes clear, the only acceptable way to do this is to go way over the top. Get it from all angles, make him fly way up in the air, an accidental crumb of a Dino Croc snack. Oh, and also make sure that it's the kid from Lizzie McGuire, because even though you only saw a few episodes, you always thought that kid should be eaten by a Dino Croc. Now you have your chance. You've been waiting, here it is. Once more. Good, see? Real good. Number 8, the many deaths of Final Destination. Final Destination has built its brand on ridiculous deaths. It focuses on people who've cheated death, so they find death coming back to collect in the least expected of moments. But death must have a sense of humor, because it's also taking time out of its busy schedule to concoct needlessly complicated and hilariously cartoony ways to die. But that alone doesn't foot the bill for unintentionally hilarious. What makes it so good is that all these death-cheating teens seem to actually just be big bags of goo with raspberry jello for bones. These kids are just grotesquely ready to pop, like big jam-filled zits. But every once in a while, you get a misfire, a teen who does not rupture in a red deluge, but simply collapses like a wet rag or a dummy in a demo for video game ragdoll physics. Life may have a funny sense of humor, but death is even funnier. Number 7, being a bad spotter's a real dick move. Guess what happens in this one? The 80s were a real time for gym-themed mayhem. The Toxic Avengers gross out gym shenanigans come to mind, but there's a special place in my heart for Happy Birthday to Me. This is a scene played for tension, but with such a goofy setup. A strongman spotter stand is removed, a weight is grabbed, and bammo! We end in a literal hit to the crotch shot. Look, several decades of America's Funniest Home Videos have tried to convince you that a smack to the crotch is funny. And they may not be wrong, but it's important to note that it's way, way better when it's way, way too much work. Number 6, CD stands for Compact Death. Compact Death. The Hellraiser series didn't start off funny at all. Clive Barker's masterwork was so jam-packed with disgusting practical effects, it almost made me gag, and I liked this stuff. But if you stuck with the series through the first 2 astoundingly gruesome entries, you would make it to Hellraiser III: Hell on Earth. This was the first entry in the series that was largely devoid of Clive Barker's influence, as well as the first Hellraiser made in the 90s. And boy, it would have you know both these things, this kill sums it up entirely. Trading gothic horror for killer CDs and nightclubs is certainly a choice. On the bright side, it's probably for the best that this guy didn't live to see Hellraiser 4. And fun fact, did you know that Henry Cavill's in Hellraiser 8? It was a straight-to-video movie, which is good for him because that seems where his career is going back to. Netflix! It's the straight-to-video of the modern era. Slightly better, I guess. Number 5, Baskets of Fun. The Basket Case series by professional deviant Frank Henenlotter is in a category all of its own. Centering on a pair of surgically separated conjoined twins, one normal, one a deformed mass of flesh who lives in the titular basket, the series' creepy practical effects flirted with the boundaries of realism. But Basket Case 3 finds a new boundary altogether. And what that boundary is, I don't know. Just watch this. The gleeful disregard for how the human body actually works goes from being mildly upsetting to being full-on funny very quickly. And this police station scene is the high point of an already stacked movie. I only wish that I could be as excited about anything as this actor was to pretend that his head has been turned fully backwards. You just need a reason to live. And sometimes that reason to live is being excited that your head's backwards and that you're dead. Number 4, killer steamrollers and soda machines. Hey, remember the early 80s? Because Stephen King sure as hell doesn't. Literary and filmic cash cow Stephen King has historically been on record as saying that he was too coked out of his mind to remember a big chunk of his career. And nothing better exemplifies this than Maximum Overdrive. This is a movie about a comet that passes over Earth and for some unknown reason turns every machine on the planet into a human-hating killbot. While the focus of the film becomes a pack of bloodthirsty semi-trucks, the early minutes of the movie treat us to a series of scenes of grown adults getting owned in absurd ways, all while featuring the actors visibly thinking, is this a good idea? It seems like it wouldn't be, but it's a Stephen King thing, so... And before they could second guess themselves and their careers and life choices in general, they're beamed in the noggin by a killer vending machine. Hey, at least they're not this kid getting run over by a steamroller or Gus from Breaking Bad, yes that's him, look closely, getting fragged by an arcade game. This movie rules. Number 3, a shitty way to go. Hellraiser 3, Basket Case 3, if you haven't picked up the pattern, you definitely will with Feast 3. Nothing says shitty sequel like a movie where a monster actually eats a severed head and then, shits it out through a disturbingly large asshole. I'll admit, I didn't laugh at this the first time I saw it because I was just so blown away thinking of all the time and labor and money that went into making this happen. Do you know how many people had to say yes to making a visible monster sphincter? I mean, that exists out there in the real world that you live in. I'll be right back. I'm gonna check eBay. Number 2 is for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Garbage Day. Nothing is funnier than the well-memed clip from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. As one of the better documented good, bad movies out there, I don't think I need to explain why the Garbage Day clip is so funny. But you shouldn't neglect some of the other weirdly funny kills that exist in this extremely creative holiday murder romp. Early on, you get a flashback to the first movie with the slaughtering Santa using momentum and merriment to his advantage by leaping from the bushes and yelling, "Naughty!" before chopping off a sledder's head like a tree topper. But you also get great kills, like this incredibly sturdy umbrella making its way through a dude's sternum. Man, they just don't build them like that anymore. Then again, we're long past the days where sunglasses would shatter just because your eyeballs exploded after your tongue was attached to a car battery. That's it. That's all the clips there are. Oh, who am I kidding? Come on!
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
Did you know that the people in this movie were barely paid anything and that the director was just told to re-edit the first movie so that they could fool an audience into thinking that it was a sequel? It paid off. It paid off, man. And finally, number 1, when in doubt, blow shit up. Head explosion. The thinking man's decapitation. For the sake of reaction gifs worldwide, the good old-fashioned head explosion is the single most important variety of ludicrous movie kill ever conceived. The scene from Scanners where the dude's head blows up is so gory that it's the one thing that people remember from the movie. If they don't also remember Michael Ironside's eyes going wide as he goes Canadian horror movie Super Saiyan and catching on fire and shit. But other than that, they mostly remember the guy's head exploding. But other movies have made memorable head explosions for entirely different reasons. Like Chopping Mall, a movie about, you guessed it, robots. Or what about Deadly Friend, where Mama Fratelli from the Goonies gets dunked on so hard that her face shatters. And if you don't have a laser or a basketball handy, you can always go with nothing at all, like Death Spa did. Taking this back full circle, let's go back to the 70s with an over-the-top kill from a respected director. Brian De Palma may be best known for Carrie and Scarface and Mission Impossible 1, but I'll always remember him as the guy who made a dude explode in 1978's The Fury. From every angle, in every way. When a producer spends this amount of money on an effect, they make sure that every frame of it gets used in the final product. And when it's this ridiculous, I make sure that I watch every single frickin' frame. So, thank you, movies. I don't know what I'd do without you. Probably not be horrifically warped for the rest of my life, but other than that, I don't know what I'd do without you.